Welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. What does 2025 have in store for us? We don't need to talk to pollsters and pundits. We need to talk to astrologers, women who have had their head in the game for quite some time. They're celebrated best-selling authors, and they are twins. They are the AstroTwins, Ophira and Tali Edut. Welcome to Kennedy Saves the World.
Oh my God, we're so happy to be here.
Are you saving the world through astrology? And if so,
Trying.
how? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or if it's possible, you know, we're trying. We're doing
using
our
the
best.
other planets to save this one.
How is astrology different than other psychic forms of discerning what might happen in the future?
It's measurable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it's
It's a
more
system.
scientific?
If you think of what science is, which is testing a hypothesis a million different ways, then it can be.
Yeah. Are you psychics? Do you have the gift?
Intuitives, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know what's great about astrology is that anyone can learn it. Not everyone can be good at interpreting, or you can over time, but it's mathematical. It's got a system to it.
Yeah. When did you get into it?
In college, my Virgo, like you,
That's right.
boyfriend, actually,
Virgo power.
he's a
Yeah.
super Virgo like you, and he got my
Yes.
chart done, which is Tali's chart too. And I was like, whoa, how does this know me so well? And it just fell down the rabbit hole while at the University of Michigan. So we didn't mean to be intuitive, psychic, astrologers, star people, any of those things.
No, but now you've got some incredible books. The Astrology Advantage. Take a look at that right now. The AstroTwins 2025 horoscope. That is out. So tell me what is in here. What are some things that people need to know? Because I feel like we have been through the ringer politically,
really have.
culturally, personally. I feel like people have really felt some personal, emotional, almost devastation, and they're ready to be on the other side of it. What does 2025
Yeah. Well, every year we name a theme, and 2024 we named the year of transcendent leadership, which was a time for us to find leadership within ourselves, because the people who were going to lead us were going to disappoint us in some way, shape, or form.
That's a really good point, and I'm glad you said that, because I talked about it on this podcast before Thanksgiving. Like, if you think that everyone has to agree with you politically, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, our lives don't have to hinge on politics, and you don't have to sterilize yourself if the person you don't like is president.
Yep.
Like, that is hanging way too much
Yep.
on politics, and you can't get away from that unless you have a leader that you're turning to. And so 2024 was turn inward.
Turn in, and in 2025 we've named the year of the divine pendulum.
Wow.
I know that's very mystical, but it is much more the outer planets, which are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. They move very slowly through the zodiac. Sometimes some of them are, Pluto's in a sign for 12 to 30 years.
Wow.
Uranus for about 7 years, Neptune 15. So they're all doing this weird and very rare thing in 2025 where they swing forward into a new sign for part of the year and then swing back.
Interesting.
And then in 2026, they all move into new signs. Now, the outer planets in astrology shape generational trends. So we're going to be feeling like we're getting this glimpse of this new way of life, this new way of doing things. And then we're going to go back to the old way. But in 2026, the real big changes are coming in, like realm
So
shift.
is this a transitory year almost?
Definitely.
And who's looking for some awesomeness in 2024? Like, what signs are like? Are you like, you're up, Buttercup? This is your year.
Cancer.
Okay, I've got one of each. I've got a child in Pisces and a child in Cancer.
Oh, wow. Okay, your kids.
All right, so I'm going to tell them
Yep.
Here's my gift to you. Like, I'm not giving you
Second half
a
of the year for the
Sephora gift
Cancer.
card or
Right, you're
handbag.
getting Jupiter.
Yeah.
Gemini's Gemini's have been the luckiest ones for the last year, and Trump is a Gemini.
Yeah.
And he had, one of the luckiest charts of any of the, anyone
This year in 2024?
this year. Like,
Yeah, on election day.
Jupiter, which is the planet of luck, was in Gemini, which only happens every 12 years.
Oh, wow.
At the same degree as his son during the debates and the election. So it was like, basically he just,
Slid on in there with the stars.
That's
helping
amazing.
them out.
Teflon Don effect was
Okay, so when you
sanctioned by the
saw
stars.
that, did you know that he was going to win the election? And did you tell people that?
We did not tell people. We are very careful about that because we also still believe in the power of intention and manifesting.
And free will.
And free will, very much
And the ability
so.
to change your mind.
Exactly. So what we saw was that Trump had this very lucky Jupiter effect, and Harris had Jupiter in his 10th house of leadership, which is luck. She had Saturn, which is sort of like a lead weight around your ankle.
Yeah.
But it can work in your favor if the Jupiter person is overly cocky and the audience doesn't have the appetite for it, then the Saturn person wins that. So we didn't know how America was going to decide.
But you had a feeling.
He had the wind at his back, and she had a headwind.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
So speaking of headwind, it's very easy for those of us armchair astrology fans to take a little bit of information and misuse it. Because people hear like, oh, well, you're a Pisces, never date someone in Leo.
Right.
Never date a Leo. And then people, you could meet someone great and be like, oh my God, he's a Leo. Like, I'm tearing up his phone numbers, though people write down their numbers anymore.
That. I know.
They do, don't they?
Crazy.
So do you caution against that?
Yeah.
Like, how much should pre-knowledge of astrology go into a love quest?
It's like something to be aware of. Like, okay, if you and Leos are not vibing over and over again, why? But we like to say, like, well, what is it about Leo energy that is a teacher for you? Leos don't mind being the center of attention. Do you have a reluctance to do that? Like, learn from the trend.
Yeah.
Make the trend your friend. Don't, like, wipe out a whole sign. Plus, your entire birth chart, which has 13 main points in it, can tell a real story. Like, we're Sagittarians, but we have 4 planets in Scorpio.
Okay.
That's what, when we learned, we're like, oh, this explains this whole other dimension of us. So you got to look at the whole chart.
Interesting. So are there 2 signs who really shouldn't date?
No, I don't think
I mean,
so.
the sign before yours and after yours can be done. Every sign,
Interesting.
it can be a little bit challenging. It's like the next door neighbor, one of you decorates in like mid-century modern, the other's like tacky pink lawn flamingos, which we would be.
I know nothing
You're
of
a
pink
lawn
lawn flamingo.
right now. I know. Tacky in the best way.
Amen. Oh, I love it. What are some of the most common things people seek from you?
Love advice.
Love.
Am I going to be okay? Career. It is a lot of love, but also just like
What's going to happen
what's
to
going to
me?
happen
What's ahead for me?
and why do I keep doing this thing over and over again? Like, what's this blind
What do you
spot?
tell people about blind spots?
The chart really helps you see your blind spots because
It does.
it's almost like, getting a view of yourself, a bird's eye view of yourself. Like, oh, okay. Usually the thing you're doing, this pattern you're repeating, is not for the reason that you think it is.
Yeah.
So the chart can really illuminate it, and then it
Interesting.
creates free will and spaciousness to do something about it.
Is there any correlation between Chinese astrology and your astrology?
There is. Each of the Chinese signs has a planet that rules it. So the dragon year of 2024 is ruled by Mars. So it's not like Aries. Aries is the war sign. And we had so much war this year. So much autocracy and leaders like vying for attention. Next year, starting January 29th, we start the year of the wood snake. The snake is like Taurus. So it's also more
Venus,
of a
peace.
peaceful, grounded, centered energy coming in.
So do you think we'll have that in the next year? I mean, I hope we do.
I sure hope so.
I hope we have peace in the Middle East, peace between
We
Russia
really
and
hope so.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
Truly, I hope everyone kind of stands down and takes a look back.
I think the bluster of the dragon year will die down, but there will probably be some like insidious kind of snaky moves, like with people being staunch and stubborn, and being like, but on a personal level, I think a lot of people after this election are saying, those who didn't want Trump to win are like, I don't want to go through what I went through mentally and emotionally again from 2016 to 2020. So, the divine pendulum, it's a very much a internal year for people, as we kind of
so.
see
What should
things
they?
swinging.
What should they do with that? I mean, is this year if it's internal? Is this a year to like clean everything out, to sell real estate, to become a minimalist?
Selling real estate is good because Jupiter in Cancer in the second half of the year will be really good for. It'll be a seller's market for sure.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah.
So maybe that means that
Unexpected.
rates are going to come down, so people will be able to get mortgages again, so people can buy things, and then
so.
people who are sitting on real estate, they can finally sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it might be more of an international thing because Jupiter is a global. Like people might decide to invest in real estate in other countries.
That's sexy.
Too. Yeah, it is.
Everybody's talking about leaving the country. Well, get your to Portugal
having a
fast.
condo in Spain.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that is super hot.
Now, I do have to say that, Uranus moving into Gemini, Jupiter and Gemini, those were, that's going to happen in the next year. And those were present during the early 1940s, during World War II. It doesn't mean it's World War III, although I kind of think we're already in it in a way. But yeah, there are some war signatures and strong peace.
Yeah, here's
ones,
something
too.
really
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, could the
Repeating
pendulum
cycles.
also be things sort of fighting each other at
Definitely.
the same time?
It's
Like two things happening
war,
at once.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Oh, yeah.
war. One of the things that's really interesting, Neptune right now is in Pisces, but it's moving into Aries from March 30th until October 22nd next year. And Neptune is the planet of spirituality, but also illusions. Last time it was in Pisces, moving into Aries was 1861 to 1862.
Oh, that's the
that was the
Civil
beginning of the
War.
Civil
Yeah.
War.
Yeah.
Yep.
That scares me.
Yeah.
We also have Pluto newly moved into Aquarius, which was right at the birth of the United States when the dollar was minted. And Aquarius is technology, so the rise of Bitcoin.
Oh, I love it.
It's like
Yeah.
so digital currency. and
Come to
crypto.
mommy, Bitcoin.
Exactly.
I've
we
always
knew that was
believed in
gonna.
you for what it's worth.
Yeah, we did. We knew that with Pluto entering a 20-year run, repeating the mint and everything else in 2024, we knew it was going to be a good thing.
I mean, obviously, people are looking for reassurance, and I know people get very mad at astrology, especially people of faith. Do you consider yourselves to be women of faith?
Our mother's a rabbi.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that would be a yes.
That's
and
so
you know
cool.
what?
Yeah.
We actually have a lot of rather conservative Christian readers, etc.
Yeah.
Weren't the Magi
yeah.
astrologers? I
They
mean, there's
follow the
mention
three
of
stars
yeah.
of
I mean, I
Orion.
think it's really in every culture.
It is. It's in our mom has found it in scriptures too. I think in the Tanakh.
And
So,
Mazel, Mazel Tov, Mazal means
good stars.
Yeah.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, yeah. So it's how you use it. So we
Yes.
have shockingly a lot of people of faith who say we had a little episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey back in the day, and one who was super Catholic brought holy water, maybe to throw. But she was watching us read the other cast members, and she was like, they were surrounded by an aura of light at the end. So I was like, okay, it's
So
not
was she going
what you do
to
with
douse you with it to see if your skin
I'm
burned?
so curious. Was she like, what was this, like the Wizard of Oz reenactment? So yeah.
No, you
anyway.
guys are very positive and kind and sweet, and you can tell that you come from a very good place and want to help people.
It's all about where you're coming from with anything. I mean, you can
Yes.
use faith to manipulate people too. So,
Yes.
and it happens.
And you can let people down with things like medicine.
Yeah, you
And
can.
even in the name of science.
I know.
Exactly.
Will you tell me something about my chart? Because I gave you all of my
Absolutely.
coordinates and
Absolutely.
exosomes.
And by the way, people can do a chart for free on our site.
What's your site?
It's
Tell me right now.
astrostyle.com.
astrostyle.com.
And if you do a
Go there right now.
slash birth chart, you get a free calculator.
Dang.
It'll give you like a little printout telling you where all the planets were. Because
Yeah.
what the chart is a map of the sky when you were born. So the planets are all orbiting, and then we freeze frame them, and they're all going to be lining up with, each of the 12 signs owns 30 degrees of real estate of the sky.
Yeah.
So the sun was in the Virgo part of the sky. The sun is a planet and moon in astrology. But you had what people don't realize is that the moon, Mercury, Mars, all the planets
Yeah.
could be in different signs, and each one is like a cast in the movie of your life. Like the sun is your main character energy, but Venus is like your romantic lead. So you have this whole story of yourself that you can learn. And that's why I think understanding that, you see where your challenges are and where your strengths are and how you can use that.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
Which sign produces the best lovers?
Depends on who you are.
They say Scorpio, but I think Pisces.
I feel like they would sting you,
Taurus,
like-
yeah,
I had a one pump chump of a Scorpio before.
They don't live up to the hype.
Pisces are pretty good. They're, if they don't, they're very
Tried them all
sensual.
except Gemini.
I know, neither one
are
of us
nice and
is-
sensual for those. It depends what you want. I mean, if you want like kink, go for an Aquarius. If you want,
Or Capricorn.
or
I thought Capricorns were boring.
Don't be fooled.
depends on-
Okay.
yeah.
They're
Because as a
hard
Virgo,
work.
I've had Capricorns
for
be like,
you.
we are more boring than you. I was like, how dare you take that back right now?
Right.
Or I will judge you.
Right.
I will be overly critical of things you can't change.
Let's take that apart.
Take them to a
Let's unpack
fetish
that.
shop and that all changes. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I'm looking at your chart and your transits, which is what is happening in your chart. And you actually have a very lucky year for your career as well. So I don't know if you have like something new going on. You probably can't say, but some kind of like a new production or something like that, or maybe a revamp of your
Fantastic.
website or branding or that kind of thing.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Well, here, let's take a look together.
They're twins after all.
A super Virgo, as
We're-
they said.
We're seeing their AstroTwinness in action, and it's fascinating because they work together, and that is why they are so successful.
It does really help. Do you know about your north and south nodes at
No.
all? The lunar nodes are these 2 points in the sky based on where the eclipses were happening closest to your time of birth. And it's kind of like your fortune line, your destiny line. The south node is what you've come into this world having comfort, natural ease with, and the north node is what you're moving towards. You have the same as us. Your south node past life energy is Cancer. So probably a homebody, love being a mom, all that good
very
stuff. Pink, we're all about it too. But your destiny is to be like have your career, your Capricorn North Node is like career is essential. You could never have one without the other.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's in the fame part of your chart too. So, but Capricorn is sort of this measured, like, let's step back and think of this from a 30K foot view. So you're kind of the voice of reason to a pop culture friendly audience.
Very libertarian.
It's a very libertarian chart, and
And
Virgo is
librarian too, honestly.
libertarian,
You got a
librarian.
librarian's chart. Yeah.
Yeah, so some people know about their sun, moon, and rising,
Yeah.
the big three.
I don't
So-
even know what those means. I know
so,
what they are,
yeah.
but I don't know what they mean.
So when you say what's your sign to someone, that's like, what is your sun sign? Which is basically where was the sun in the sky if I looked up at that moment of my birth when I took a snapshot of the stars overhead. So it was in the Virgo part of the sky. It takes 30 days to move through that. Then the moon, which takes a couple of days, also was in that part of the sky on your date of birth. And then the rising sign, which changes every 2 hours, was also in the Virgo. So that's unusual for all three to be in one. You were born in a 2-hour window of that month.
And
the
what,
year,
what they
of the year.
mean, the sun, like I said, is your main character energy. It's how you present, it's how you shine in the world. The moon is often the part of you that only the people closest to you know. It's your emotional nature. And the rising sign it can be seen as like a mask that you wear or like what your first impression is. And since yours are all in Virgo, you're just a whizzy
yeah, I
wig.
can't
There's just
get
like,
anything
you
from
got,
anyone.
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm thinking, which is great, and
Yeah.
it sucks. Because, like, people can tell when I'm mad. You know, it's like...
That's good, though,
Yeah,
I
people can
think.
tell when I'm bored.
Right.
You know, it's like...
Yeah,
I'm
there's
a
no hiding it.
horrible
No
poker player.
hiding
No.
it.
wow, yeah.
Poker face does not exist
Now,
for you.
Virgo energy is very investigative, curious, analytical. Yes, it can be judgmental. Virgo rules the intestines and the digestive system. You
Horrible
talk
digestion.
openly about your
Everything, yeah.
celiac and all the other things you've been
it's all
through.
garbage, yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
And I've tried everything.
Also, the Cancer South Node too adds to that. Yeah,
rules
it's
the
just like
stomach.
emotions are all just
Could even
coming
be
here.
social
Yeah, totally.
anxiety looking at your chart.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm definitely I definitely lean toward anxious, which is why I try and like have conversations and have podcasts about, you know, occasionally like things like meditation and mindfulness to bring people back, because even though you're predisposed to something, it doesn't mean you have to live in that constantly.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it may be easier for you to sort of walk down the hallway, but you can always kind of turn around and
And that's how we use astrology too. It's like you are not doomed and fated to this. This is sort of like your factory settings. But if you were to get a piece of equipment or a computer and you read the manual, then you could do more with it than less. So it's like there's so much more we can do with ourselves, and we even realize when you tap into any kind of mindfulness or astrology or modality or faith sometimes, and you have self-awareness. The minute you create distance from yourself, you know, and observe yourself, you gain free will.
do you think that we have evolved?
As humans?
Yes.
Yes, 100% yes and 100% no, depends on.
I mean, I guess it depends on the day and who you're looking
Yeah.
at. You look at some people and you're like, is this what human beings have become?
I think we have the ability to step back from stress and our disconnect from nature and in a way that has allowed us to evolve in choices that we have. But push comes to shove, we go right back to being those animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. Your sun and Mars are right next to each other. And Mars is like the warrior planet. They're in the first house of independence. So being a libertarian just really suits you. It's like you're going to fight for freedom,
funny.
fight for individual rights. You're not really necessarily a community. It's not that you're not a community person, but not at the expense of the self. Like
Yeah.
the fight for personal freedom
That's
is
a
really
tension
big one for you. Yeah.
Because in your past lives, you were very much a quiet member of the community, according to your chart too. So you came here to really be a voice, but it does create this anxiety for you too.
That's very
You
interesting.
want to hide out in a crowd, and you keep being pushed to be in the spotlight, and you're like, all right, I accept this fate. I guess I have to be the one to say it, but it's not easy for you.
Yeah, I just want to be home cleaning, but hello, my honey, hello, my baby.
Exactly.
No, and I always tell my girls, like, never be the aggressor, never hurt someone. You know, you can defend yourself. And I tell people, like, if anyone ever hurt you, like, God help them. Like,
Do daughters?
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
see-
they will awake the warrior, and
yeah.
God help them all.
Well, since your past life sign is Cancer, and which is the sign of women and mothers, I also have a Cancer South Node and a daughter.
Yeah.
Your Cancer daughter must be especially sort of like karmic for you in
Yes,
some way. Did you feel like I
absolutely.
know you when she was born?
The second she popped out, that's really
Yeah.
interesting you say that, because,
Yeah.
like, I had never had that feeling of knowing someone completely the first time I saw her face. And I did not know, you can't anticipate what that feeling is going to be like. And it was so predetermined.
How old is she?
19.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had that feeling about her daughter when she
Oh,
was
wow.
born.
Yeah,
I don't have kids.
She
Yeah,
had
that's
all
amazing.
the
I was like,
oh, wow,
pregnancy
look at-
symptoms.
I did, yeah.
But do you think that's because you're identical twins?
Definitely a twin
Yeah, I had
thing.
none. She had dreams about my daughter. I
My
had
feet
none.
hurt.
Yeah, we would get like this week you will feel this. I'm like, I don't have that. And she's like, ow. Yeah. I was like, this is good
know.
offloading.
That's amazing, though.
Isn't that wild?
For her,
You're,
not
you're
for
like
me.
her external hard drive. I know. I mean, that's the hard thing about being
is cool.
empathic is you feel everything.
Every damn thing.
But now everyone can read everything.
they can.
About
We
2025.
channeled every sign. This is like your full extensive horoscope. Like
That's great. It's better than the Farmer's Almanac.
it really is.
It's our farmer's almanac.
Yeah, you want to know, like, is there going to be rain? Do I have to build a bomb shelter?
Who cares when the
Exactly.
beaver moon is? We've got much more interesting facts.
I
for
think
you
porn
here.
stars are the only ones.
For
And
sure.
we have a 40-page trend report at the back of this year because we
That's
just
amazing.
want people to know what's happening in the next
So
half
what
of the
should we
decade.
look forward to in trends?
A lot of new conversations around aging, workplace shifts. Like your workplace is about to become like a luxury apartment. Yeah.
yeah,
I hope
people-
that's
The
true for
companies that
everyone.
the companies that want to keep talent are going to have to like
They're going to work a
make
little
it
bit
feel
harder.
like home.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Interesting.
I know there's so many.
Real
There's-
estate,
So we
definitely
got snack
crypto.
baskets during the pandemic, and they're still here.
Wow.
It's one of the
Yeah, no.
best things to happen from something kind of negative.
Yeah.
Like, please don't ever take the snack baskets.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I love the gummy bears and Skinny Pop.
Oh my
Ooh,
God.
the skinny
Keep them
pop,
coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes, do not
Better
let
than
that
the
go away.
dried lentils and beans that I put in my
What
basement.
should people do, speaking of which, because I love New Year's Eve rituals. What should people do for New Year's Eve
Oh,
to
yeah.
bring like the good luck and the goodness for 2025?
This is an interesting New Year's Eve because the day before there's a new moon in Capricorn, so we'll make it a little more chill. Of an, like this, like
Set your goals a day early.
set your goals a day early. Mars and Pluto are opposite each other, which is, I feel like people could also there's gonna be a lot of emotion going around though too. I think people need to move their bodies, dance, sing, have silly fun. Otherwise it could get too intense. Do not sit it is a good vision boarding. Pluto and Mars can be very intuitive, but that Mars energy, it's going to be retrograde too.
We're retrograde going into the new year.
Yeah, we've got
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Mars
Leo.
tomorrow.
How do you protect yourself from that?
Mars retrograde it's like,
It can be a little intense. I do recommend. I think that some of the pent up anger from the election, because everybody was okay for Thanksgiving, Christmas.
That was
might
something
be
that
a little
people noted.
harder.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be some of that might if we sit around too much and
Yeah.
I think some people
Don't
have
take the
money
peace for
stress
granted.
and
and-
keep it going.
if you're, anyone who's owns a venue who's listening should make sure they have security there too. Because
Yeah.
Mars
Yeah.
retrograde
That
is,
energy is
yeah.
going to go somewhere. That's
Yeah.
such a good point. And there have been so many flare ups.
Yeah.
It's almost like in Southern California. I spent so much time in Southern California. Like if you didn't have a small earthquake, people always got terrified. because
Right.
The energy
Big
is
ones
building
coming.
up below the
Yes.
surface.
That is a Mars Pluto opposition. On Christmas Eve, there's Jupiter and Saturn are kind of bumping up against each other the same way they were on August 19th and 20th during the DNC. So there's a lot of big feeling stuff coming up over the holidays. So
All right. So, I mean,
definitely-
physically, what can you do? Take a salt bath?
yeah, like Tali said, move, exercise, go
Okay.
for walks, start now.
Yeah.
Start your even if it's a walk
I always
around
say
the
that,
block.
don't wait for the first week in
Right,
January.
right. No,
Start
no.
now.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
develop a habit. So by the time the first week in January rolls around, it's you're ahead of the game.
Yeah,
It could
work
be
out
a
your
sexy
differences
one
now.
though. There could, you could. It's also maybe a good New Year's for you
Hooking
and
up.
just one person. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a hooking up kinda
Hugh
New
gay
Year.
or whatever that trend is.
yes,
Hugh
yes.
gay. Let's get in a nice fake fur blanket and don't emerge until
That's right.
Mercury's out of retrograde.
And the sun
Yes.
is gone for 23 hours of the day.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need it.
No.
You don't
Who
need
needs
that
the
beaver
sun?
moon. You guys are amazing. Ophi and Tali, thank you so much for coming by.
you for
And please
having
come back.
Oh, we'd love to.
Oh, there's so many more things I want to know.
God,
Oh,
yes,
many more.
Yes.
You guys are awesome. So, take this into your new year, use it in any way you need, and go to astrostyle.com. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with the Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app. Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.